Okay, I thought of more points about this video about a man asking her count on the first date, and I'll probably include the clip somewhere along these lines.
If we were, I don't know, seeing each other a few months and it was like kind of relevant, but right now it doesn't seem relevant to who knows what if we even see each other
so
again.
that's something that you want me to find out like later down the road once I start, once I can, once we're together, and then you'll be honest. That's what you're saying.
I'm being honest with you now that I don't think it's an appropriate question. I'm not going to answer that.
Also, another thing women don't realize is your reputation is kind of based on your count. If you're known as that woman that does that with everybody, yeah, I mean, your reputation's not going to be as good. That's just the reality. And it can be unfortunate sometimes because I do think sometimes there's misunderstandings out there. But the reality is your reputation is painted by that. And a man may not want to be associated with that. That's why a lot of men, if you have one of those OF accounts, won't date you for the same reason. I mean, everyone at his workplace could literally pull up your account, pay $5-10, whatever your rate is, and see you like that. So it removes the specialness of that. And for some men, they really value intimacy on a deep level. They see it as an important part of the connection. And sometimes there's even religious elements to it that make it more special. And especially these days, a lot of people don't have any discernment with that. It's just sort of this entertainment type of thing, and not everybody is on board with that mentality. Not everybody likes that mentality. Not everybody is comfortable with that mentality. So a man asking you that question on the first date is not him being controlling or a horrible person. In fact, I know of a lot of men who care about that, who are the most amazing men ever. That's just simply their standard. Also, for a lot of men, they don't want to be the stable one after the chaos. You've spent years just hanging out, partying, doing your thing, enjoying life, and then you decide you want to settle down, and he becomes that option because, all these other men that you were with that way weren't long-term relationship potential, and now you want to settle for him and be with him when he brings stability. And a lot of men feel very used in those situations and, quite frankly, don't want to be that person for you. So again, it might be a compatibility thing. You just may be closing the doors to those types of men when you choose to engage in that activity, or when you choose to not have discernment and you're not careful with that. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, and you know what, that's okay, because a lot of men see that also is your self-control, your ability to say no in maybe situations where you're being pressured a little bit. Having discernment as a woman is a good thing, and a lot of men see that as a positive quality because you're less likely to give into temptation. And with a lot of men are approached very often. They're the ones that do the approaching. So for a lot of women, we get approached throughout our lives. And, when you have a lot of discernment and you show that you have self-discipline, a man's less worried about you potentially doing something you might regret later, because a man knows even after you're married and whatnot, you will still get approached by men occasionally, and you have to be able to be like, no, I'm married. I'm not interested. Leave me alone, please. That type of thing. Whereas if you're the type of woman that maybe doesn't have that discernment or the self-control, again, he may be likely to be in a position where he gets hurt or he gets cheated on. And a lot of men are subconsciously thinking about that, even if they don't directly ask you. That's why a lot of men choose specific types of women. That's also why I feel like a lot of men prefer women that dress a little bit more modestly as well, because it discourages people from approaching a little bit more. And now I'm not saying that your dress, definitely determines that, because that gets into some sketchy area there. But again, sometimes when we see someone who's dressed a little bit less modestly, we assume that they could be single, and men are more likely to approach those women. Also, that's an uncomfortable question. Let's be real here. And a lot of men, they see if you can be honest in a situation that might feel a little awkward or a little uncomfortable, and that means a lot to them. So sometimes it's not even about the number. You could say some crazy high number and he's going to be like, okay, well, she was honest and forthcoming with me on that. So if she's honest with that, she's probably going to be honest with everything else. And again, there's a level of trust there.